continuing with the prohibition for a court not to give capital punishment on Shabbos. Now, many would ask the question, doesn't it seem like at times the punishments in the Torah are a little too harsh? That it could be that if someone transgresses a sin in the Torah, the punishment for that will be the death sentence. I want to just briefly mention 4 points to address this question. Number one, in order for capital punishment to be carried out, there are so many conditions that have to be met. So much so that our sages call a court that gives out capital punishment even once in 70 years a murderous bet din. In addition to that, the person who would get the death sentence, before committing the sin, he had to be so aware, so conscious, and so intentional for the act that he's doing, and aware of the consequences that it would cause, that it would be almost equal to him committing suicide. Point number two. On the 24th of December 1968, that's when the astronauts first went into orbit on the moon. The next day, the Rebbe used this to make a very powerful point. We could all imagine the extensive research that Central Command had to put into this mission, and the training that the astronauts had to go through, how to eat, how to sleep, etc. If one of the astronauts would turn and say that whatever I do, it's my business, it's my life, and let me just go and do whatever, eat the way I want to, and do things the way I want to do. That this particular thing I don't understand, it doesn't make sense to me, I don't see the importance of it, so I'm not going to bother doing it. We could all understand that he is jeopardizing not just the mission, but also all the lives of the other astronauts that are together with him. And all the billions of dollars that went into this are all just going to be ruined, gone to waste. The same thing is that God, He created each one of us for a purpose, for a reason. And each one of us have a mission that we're supposed to do in this world. And if we say that it's my business what I do, not just are we jeopardizing our own mission, but it's jeopardizing the global mission that God has, the master plan that He has for the entire universe. And me doing one thing wrong, that could ruin God's entire master plan, and doesn't just ruin it for me, but it in fact ruins it for everyone. The third point, we have to be able to appreciate the state that the Jewish people were at when capital punishment was carried out during the era of the temple. Just to give an example, we can all appreciate, we can all understand that after the Jewish people received the Torah at Mount Sinai, then they went and worshipped the golden calf. Then we all, when we read that story, we all understand why God was really, really angry and upset. It's almost like someone having an affair, that now they went and committed themselves to God. They had the marriage at Mount Sinai, and then afterwards they went and worshipped an idol. They went to someone else. They worshipped the golden calf. So when we read that story, we all appreciate God getting upset. We have to realize that the state that the Jewish people were at during the entire period of the temple, when they saw God, they saw miracles day to day. And if someone were to go and say that I don't care about that and I'm going to go do something else, then that person wasn't being honest with themselves, and it was almost like they were doing it to spite God, to get God upset. And perhaps this is the reason why nowadays, when we are no longer at that state, there are many Jews that don't have the upbringing and we don't witness God in the same way that they did. So that's one of the reasons why there is no capital punishment these days. Fourth and last point, that in order for, we have to be able to understand there's a big difference between the punishments the way they are in the Torah and in when, let's say, civil court gives out a punishment, a capital punishment or whatever punishment it is. When the civil court gives out a punishment, then it's done either as a deterrent, to make an example of, that other people shouldn't behave in such a way, or that this person is deserving of such a punishment for the terrible sin which they committed. Right? By God, when the Torah tells us it's capital punishment, it's not that God saying, oh, you got me really upset, now I'm going to get even with you, I'm going to get you back and you get capital punishment. Obviously, God doesn't need to get even with anyone. But rather, it's as a tikkun. It's in order to cleanse and rectify the sin that happened. In Judaism, we believe in the afterlife, and it's much more important what goes on with the soul than what happens with the body. And therefore, it's a small price to pay, and the person, when he reaches the afterlife, he will be happy to pay this price in order to be able to get the benefit of the world to come, for the soul to have that cleansing and to have that atonement. Then he would actually be thankful for the means that had to happen in order to get to that. One thing that we could obviously always keep in mind, that by seeing the punishment that the Torah tells us for various different sins, this gives us an appreciation for the importance of that particular deed, that how important it is to or not to do it.